Hey guys, welcome to the second episode of my Planet Coaster 2 Longplay. In this video we're going to finish off on the left side of the previous kingdom and then start on the Dwarven section of the park. I've gone in a slightly different direction than I was planning and have decided to split the Dwarf section into two. And as always, I hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, please consider subscribing and giving a like and a comment. Okay, welcome back to the Four Kingdoms. Today we're going to start, I think, over here and kind of get this ride looking a little bit better. We're pretty much done with this section for now, I think. And definitely this area here, I think, looks good enough to leave as it is for now. We probably will revisit at points just to kind of touch things up. But for now, let's start over here. I do have some new blueprints that I would like to use here. I think maybe we'll put something right here. So just as you come under this bridge here, you've got this nice big building. And let's see if I manage to put them together correctly. I think we'll have this bridge over here so that it goes along the queue for this ride here. I'll take that down and just kind of line that up with the cables there. Hopefully that's at a nice level. And then we have, I think this is the other section. Yeah, let's turn that around and pop that in just here. I may have to try and do something different with the tiles because they are making this a very high object count. And it works for small things like this, but I think for a bigger building it might be a bit much. But let's grab our tower and we'll pop that just there. Should be a little door. And we'll tuck that down in there and link that over. Let's just adjust that a little bit. And then let's see how this is looking from our guest perspective. When we come up, we've got this nice building here. I think that looks quite nice. And you've got the shield spin on the left. Do think we'll need to remove, or at least move, this tree. Maybe pop that over here next to the exit. And let's redo this area here. I'm not sure if this queue might be a bit too short. Maybe we can add a few cattle pen like pieces. And then we'll just need some nice decor around here and just along this path. Maybe we just do some nice foliage here. I think that could look quite nice, like it's in the gardens of this sort of manor building. Could do something like that and see how that looks. We just pull that over and let's change that to relative. And then 1, 2, and 3. Let's just have a little peek at how that looks from down here. Once you come up, you can kind of see the ride. I think we'll need something on the end of the ride here, or perhaps actually if we turn the ride around, then anyone coming up here can sort of see the ride in progress, and just push that back a little. So now when we come up, we have this ride right here, and we can see everyone enjoying themselves on it and get excited for it and come over here. I think that's a lot better. And maybe, I think this is a bit too high. So let's take that down and let's get this open as well so we can have some money coming in. Is this low enough for safety? Maybe we'll add a fence behind it as well. just pop that along here. Let's push this one down. We'll just pull the ground up underneath here as well. Let's change the size down a bit. There we go, something like that. And then let's get some kind of wooden fence going on around here as well. Let's use the fairy tale pieces from Planet Coaster 1. Never really got a chance to play much Planet Coaster 1, so it might be worth having a look at some of the new old pieces. I think we'll keep this white, maybe? Let's see how it looks in the different colours. Black hides it more. Yeah, white is maybe a bit aggressive. I think we've got enough purple. I think we'll go for the white for now. Now that that's down, I've kind of been thinking, if we're going for a sort of garden theme, we could maybe make this whole area very gardeny and have this be some kind of mutated flower that some sort of magicians and mages experimented on. And we could go for a full garden theme here. Kind of an overgrown, like this bit as the flower head. I wonder how we could make that work. Let's have a look and see if we can find some bits. We could definitely use some tentacles for the sign and maybe attach those to a flower. Like a, I don't know, some sort of strange abomination. Let's see what we can come up with. Maybe we could use the leaves here and change those to a kind of more mutated colour. And we could probably stick these on the ride as well. Let's try something like that. And maybe we'll just get copies of those and spin those around. Maybe move them down slightly. Then we can move these up slightly. And the same once more. Yeah. Take those up. And then put our tentacles amongst these. And maybe make these green. To kind of stick with that plant theme. Yeah, something like that. And let's pull that out. And we'll do the same here. And just tuck that in. And then we can get some kind of flower center here. Let's see what we've got. Oh, we could go for an eyeball. Would that be a bit too creepy? Maybe. And then this is an eyelid. Maybe change those to their own color. Let's see what we can find. Maybe some kind of red. And can we change the eye color? This could work. I'm not 100% sure on the eyeball. But I'm enjoying the concept, at least. Let's see. I think something like this could work. And then if we name it something kind of like an experiment, a mage's experiment, maybe with a number, experiment 626. experiment 4 or something like that. Maybe we can pop that on the bridge above. As kind of the marker for this ride. I think that looks quite good, like it's reaching down towards the crowd. And we'll pop it back in here, move it along there, and then we'll have the name of the ride just to the side there. Let's just move the eye so that it's looking down a bit. Oh, might there be a way with an animatronic that we could make that actually look around? We've got the rotational. I think the moving platform is a bit too wide. I think rotational would be the best we could do. I think that works quite well. It keeps going between, yeah, quite aggressive looking around and quite relaxed. I'm quite pleased with that. I think that looks pretty cool. Let's start making this look a bit more like a mutant flower now and get some of these green colours going on it. Where's our main section? There we go. Let's get this looking more like a flower stem. And should we have it be a purple flower? What colour do we have? We've got purple and green going on here, but it's more the... Which one did we use? The Tyrian purple, I think. And let's get rid of the yellow. I'll try and go for a bit more of this kind of colouring. And maybe we can just use these pieces that we use down here. Let's have a look. And then maybe we just attach them here and make this bit a nice giant flower. And we'll just do the same again. Let's pull that round. 45 degree. And take that down. Let's get those a bit lined up. Duplicate them. And hopefully that should stay. No, it's not going to stay on that center. That's alright. Just do this, and then we can pop some more of our tentacles in. We'll make them a little bit bigger on the actual ride. Let's have that one going down. And we'll have this one around the side here. And I think we'll do the same again with the eyeball. Let's find our eyeball again. Let's just pop the bits down that we need. And then I can find the animatronic piece. Oh, like a smiley face. I think that looks quite cool. And what we can do for the rest of it, I'm not too sure. Maybe add some kind of tentacles coming along here. Let's definitely change the pattern on the top though. Let's find something a bit more floral. That's perfect. And then we can, hopefully, get some tentacles going up. And maybe build some kind of overgrown greenery down here. Okay, let's attach scenery and find our tentacles again. We can also add this here. And pop another eyeball on this side. Or maybe instead this side could be some kind of mouth. I think that could look pretty cool. And then we'll give it some big floral lips. Or maybe just use this moon piece again. Not sure if that will work as well. Let's see. It's a little bit terrifying. But I suppose that is the goal. I feel like it either needs to be scarier or cuter. So I think I'm gonna go with scarier. add some more teeth. Maybe something like that. We can just add a whole bunch of ivy and kind of other growing plants to this area. It would be nice if they attached to the ride. Hopefully it does. Oh, perfect. And then we can... we'll add some pots down here to make it more realistic. Not like the ivy's growing out of nowhere. Just get this all overgrown. And then let's just pop some planters down along here. To kind of make it look like these plants are coming from somewhere at least. And we'll change these to a black. And then for the floor, I think we'll just go with a basic wooden floor. Something, yeah, something like this. Just add some tentacles to the floor as well. I think that could look really cool. Just about there. Maybe a few more around here. Maybe a few smaller ones coming out of the ride operator section here. We'll just flip that around and rotate that slightly. And maybe we can add a few petals here too. Maybe we could add some chains as well, as if they've tried to contain the creature, but it just hasn't worked. I think that could look quite cool. Got some kind of glitch with the chains which makes them impossible to select, so let's try and do this without placing them, and hopefully we can get it perfectly. I suppose it could be going into the bush. Let's move that slightly and we'll just tuck that in there. And we'll give that a very slight rotate, I think. Just pop that back in. There. And then let's see. No, we still can't select, so we'll just pop one this side as well. Okay, let's see how this looks from the guest perspective. Maybe a bit strange. I do wish that that flower was spinning with it, but I did try and it didn't seem to work. But that's okay. I think when it spins around, it probably looks quite cool. Put our mouth there. And then if we're walking on, we've got this up here. We'll edit this this queue as well. And then as you go on, you've got the chains and eyeballs and this scary mouth. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. I think we may come back to it at some point, but for now we will call it Experiment 4. And what we'll do now is we'll just get this path sorted out. I think we might actually need to remove this part of the queue because we are going to want the main path for the park to go through here. I think we could have a nice seating area here. And maybe a few shops. Let's bring that out and curve that around the rest of the way. Go here and then switch that to a curve. And just link that up there. Let's see if we can get rid of that small little corner. We can. Very nice. We do have those trees from the new fantasy pack, or the new old fantasy pack. Let's see, maybe they could be used here. Where is our fairy tale? There we go. And we should have a sort of witchy looking tree. Or quite a few of them here actually. And that would actually work quite well. I don't think we can change the colour, but we could put some maybe along this section as a kind of border. And maybe a ride entrance. But then the rest of this section looking colourful might not work as well. So perhaps we could have it kind of weaving through these hedges here. And then we'll just flip that around. We could have an entrance with this. And just rotate that to stand it up. And then push that in and pull it up a bit. There we go. For the entrance here, I'm not too sure. We'll definitely use the sign that we made earlier. Maybe just have a few of these with a few bushes weaving in between. And then we'll pull this down. We'll have that hanging above here with a name. There we go, that's perfect. And then we can pop this bit along the top. Just push that down and shrink it a bit. And then we can link that up with one of these. Twist that round, shrink that right down, and then just pull that up to the top. That could work, although I'm not sure where we will fit the words experiment 4. I'm sure we can do a tiny sign there. Is there a reason this isn't going? Do we need a staff member? We've got someone coming. I'm not sure why they can't go through the exit, but that's fine. For now, let's add some borders to these paths. I'm torn between making this bit look more like a derelict garden or kind of trying to make it look like it should be a nice, beautiful garden that's just got a big monster in it. Maybe we can try something between the two. Just sprinkle a few of these in here. Just a few. Most of them should be kind of spooky looking. Let's get some of the colour theme going here. And it would be really great if we could change the colour of the leaves. Let's see if there's any that we can make a bit darker. I think we can with these kind of flower bed things. But I'm not sure if those are what I want to add. Could have a few tentacles coming out of the ground. I think we do have maybe a few tentacles in the pirate pack, if I remember from Planet Coaster 1. Let's have a look. We do, but it is a giant animatronic, which I don't think will work here. Let's just add a few more bushes and flowers in here. And then I think we'll say that this ride is done. And maybe start moving into our next section of the park, which is going to have sort of a Babylonian astrology sort of feel to it. Just put a few bits down here, and maybe extend this fence out a bit. I think as well we can add a few of the eyeballs to the floor. Just kind of give this queue a bit more of a tie-in with the theme. We'll just add a few more here. Now for some kind of sign. I'm not quite sure how to fit this on here with this giant flower. We could maybe make the flower smaller. Let's see how small it can go. Not very small due to the eyeball. Let's try popping it here. We'll have to cover something. We'll put something here to cover that up. And we'll pull that back. And out. And then we can edit this and just pop that eyeball back a slight amount. We'll just pop that on there. And have that say, oh, we are still in profit. That's really good. Experiments. We'll maybe do the 4 custom. Just to kind of have that stand out a bit. What font should we go for? So I ended up with this sign. I think I tried a few different things, but nothing was really looking good in my opinion. Then we can move this over. And just pop that up on the top here. We may not even need this branch going across. No, I think we will. Let's just put that there and plop that up there. We'll pull it back a little bit and find something to cover up the twisting thing. We could just shrink this down and then bring that around. Just push that down there a bit. Just twist it a little bit more. Maybe just pop that there. And we'll see how that looks from our guest perspective. Oh, it's a little bit low. But we can't see the rotating piece, that's good. So what we'll do is we'll move that up and back. That should be better for our guests, yeah. And we lost our big piece here. We'll just pop another one in. And bring that over here. Give it a little twist and get that into place. There we go. I think that ride is finished. Although, I just remembered I did create a small height chart. Let me see if I can find that. I think this one is for adults and teens only, so we will pop down our adult height chart here. I'll just pop that down there. And maybe we will change the colours of this a bit. Or let's see how it looks. Maybe we could keep it like that. Keeps with the colour theme a bit more. And while we're on this, let's add these to our other rides. I don't think we'll need a height chart for the teacups. I'm pretty sure those are suitable for any age. I think this is an adult ride. No, there are a few kids on here. That's fine. Maybe just here. And then we've got the lumberdrake, which I'm sure is adults only. Let's just check. Well, it should be for all ages, so we will put down our kids' height. And we'll just tuck that down there. Maybe we'll put it over by the bin here. I'm quite happy with this area here. I think we'll just pop a few flowers down here and just build it out a little bit and see what else we can find. Maybe just a few bits like this and a few of these which we had over there, which kind of matches our... Are they too tall? No, that should be fine. And then we'll get a few stores just around this corner here and then start building into our next section. Let's just move that bench along. No, we'll leave that there. We'll take this bush back a bit. And I think we'll move this as well. And just quickly, I think we should change the music of this because it's not really spooky enough. Fiery vibes. Oh, no, that's a bit too chill. Let's look for something symbiosis. Maybe pirate caves could work. Yeah, let's go for pirate caves. And add some shops around here. Let's go for a vegan shop. I think that is suitable for the area. Quite a lot of plants going on here. So let's look for our facilities, create a custom, and find our vegan store. There it is. We'll do a Viva la Vegan just here. And do we add... Yeah, I think we can add for the rest of this theme scenery. Let's find our... Should have enough to plop this down. My blueprint pieces, and we'll quickly just get some of these and build a little shop here. We'll use this piece here and we'll just get rid of that window. Then we've got something fairly decent here. Let's bring that forward. And just link that onto the end here, cover up that white piece there. And actually I think we should move this all back. And that's all good. We could maybe do just add some roof here. And maybe have a little drinks vending machine here. Let's have a look at our facilities and just grab a... Do we have a gulpy? I'm not sure if we do. Let's get a gulpy. Oh no, we do have a gulpy. We'll just put a pip shot in here. Or maybe two. Pip shot and... We'll just go for another gulpy. And then we can just do some plaster wall along the back here. I think what we'll do here as well is maybe add kind of a staff area here. Just to get the staff a few more places to have their breaks, because we will be expanding soon. Add a few more of these, and I would love to make all of the staff sections nice and pretty, but I think that will take too long, and maybe at the very end when we're completely finished with the park we can make the staff areas look really nice, but for now I think we'll just leave them a bit plain. Let's get the path coming round here and try and have it a bit smaller if possible. I'll do something around here. Actually, I think if we have it as if they're going through this building. So we can just do a small little square here. And then hopefully connect that. Let's connect it here first. Let's get the connection going. And maybe just tuck that into the building. Then we can put a door there and make it look as though the staff are just going through this building. In fact, we could even put the staff room in here. And I think while we're here, we'll delete these because the backside of this building is not going to be seen too much. And let's move that. And zoom in here, see if we can pop that somewhere. Hopefully it's not showing out the sides. Let's have a look. No. Okay, and then we'll just get the queue, the path going here. And we'll put a door here at least so that it looks a bit like there's somewhere to go. Should we go with one of these fantasy doors? No, I think we'll keep to the theme that we had. Oh, maybe this one. Servant entrance. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, we can delete all of this now. And we'll delete this as well. Just add a bit of something to the back here. Let's get this vegan shop open. And then we can just put that in the back there. Maybe a sign here with the recipes. Let's move that one out here, actually. Maybe we can even put it up here. And then one on the back here, and we'll see if there's any kind of posters that we can pop up the back that look like menus, perhaps. Let's have that going the opposite way to the one on the roof. And we'll bring that over here a bit. And let's see if we've got any menu kind of things or posters. Posters, I mean, not quite what I was going for, but fish in a vegan shop, maybe. Well, let's just pop that on the back there. Very or maybe I think there's something in the pirate pack. Let's look in. That has a bunch of, yes, that's perfect. Let's pop that here. Can we shrink that down a bit? Let's get rid of the angle snap and we'll just pop that here. And maybe even squeeze some inside the back here. And let's find our, just some wooden slats I think for the floor. And then let's just close this in a little bit. It's not perfect, but it will do. Aha! Let's see how this is all looking from our human perspective. So we've got this hinting at a ride around here. Experiment 4. And Viva la Vegan. A few little things here. Maybe we'll get some toilets here too. And then move into our next zone. Gonna remove this here. And I think we'll do maybe a river here to kind of separate the two zones, or some sort of lake. So let's push the ground down just in preparation for that. And we've already got it down a bit, so that's quite good. Do we want to leave this zone now? Is this big enough for our first kingdom? Yeah, I think it is. We can always expand them later if needed. So let's just get something going here. Some nice kind of lake. Let's bring that up a bit. We will need some sort of roof here just to kind of fill this facade in, but for now it's we'll just leave that as it is. As long as people can eat, we don't worry about our staff getting covered in rain. Yeah, I think maybe here. And then if we bring this round, we can kind of fill this river. Let's bring that down. And we'll pour this out. But we will go down a bit too into the other kingdom, or the other area of the park. And let's see how the water fills this area up. Let's go to our water. We'll go for a clear water. Can we go any higher than that? Where's our limit? What's stopping this going higher? There we go, that's a bit higher. Maybe not the most beautiful shape over here, but we can make it look nicer with the rocks. Whoopsie, let's bring this all up a bit. And then just down a tad. And we can smooth this section here off. And what we'll do is we'll have a bridge going over here, and then this will be our new zone. So let's get that bridge ready. Let's go for something like this. Maybe a 2. Then we'll get our bridge going. I'm also thinking maybe we could have a sort of transitional area here, just a small island that's not in either of the themed areas. Maybe with just some more stores. I'm not sure. We'll make something and see how it goes. Something like that. Although the water seems to be getting lower. Where is that problem? That's over here. Okay, let's fix that. And I think we should bring the lake over to this balcony here for the restaurant. I think that would be nice to overlook. So let's see about moving these trees back. And then we'll just pull the balcony out just a bit. Somewhere along there. And let's just smooth that down. And then we end up with something a bit like this. I think I would like the river a little bit higher here, but that would involve moving this around, and I'm not sure if that'd be worth the change. Let's see if we can maybe get it up just a bit more. Okay, now we've got the river done. We can... I think we'll do some foliage and rocks just for the river's edge before we kind of bring this part here. Let's find our temperate rocks, and we'll make a small kind of prefabricated piece that we can repeat over and over again, hopefully at different sizes and shapes. Maybe we'll make a couple here, and then we can also add some greenery, just a little bit between the kind of crevices of the rocks. I think we'll do a couple of clusters of tiger rocks as well, because I think it'd be good to kind of distinguish the zones a little bit with the rocks too, but not too drastically. And let's piece some of these in to give a nice edge to the lake here. Can duplicate over here, make that quite a bit smaller for this area, and push that down maybe around there. Just get some more here, or maybe we'll put this over here for now, and we'll see how that looks right next to its copy and see if we can get a way of doing that. Just make that a bit larger and bring that in around here. Let's just turn that a bit and have a look at that. I think that works alright. Maybe we'll get rid of this bit here and just open the river mouth up a bit more. And we'll move those just there. Maybe we could add a waterfall at the end here as well. Let's see. I've not actually played with these effects before, so maybe we could have it coming down into these bushes, and sort of the idea that it's trickling down into the stream here. Wonder how many of these we would need. And then we've got a middle. So we can put those up here with the rest. Okay, that looks quite nice. But we will need some river over here as well. Can we add more to get an even stronger effect? Let's see. And let's get a few more for the top. Then we'll just bring the path down here, and we can do a nice kind of terrace here. I'm thinking just some toilets over here and just like a nice seating area so people can just take in the views, which will maybe adjust a bit, but I think it could look quite nice. Let's try maybe using the stamp tool here. Let's make that a bit bigger. That might be too large. Let's remove these pieces first, and then we can try that again. Maybe around here. And then we can bring that down. Let's see if we can connect that nicely. We straighten that up a bit and then just move that over. maybe we can just link that down. Perfect. And then we will, I think we'll get rid of the curb on this. Let's get rid of that. We'll leave it on the bridge, but we'll take it away here. And then we'll just get a bit more curb or path over here to connect to our toilets. Okay. Quite like the look of this little area. I'm not sure how I will do the bridge just yet, but we can figure it out. We will cover this bit up first, I think. Get that facade looking a little bit better. Just kind of draw the attention away from this area. Okay, we've got that looking nice. Now I think we can add some toilets here, and we will try and start moving away from the previous theme now. Not sure how yet. Let's just quickly find our facilities. So we need our toilets. I'm thinking some purples and some blues, maybe a red as well to tie in with the color theme of the next area. Oh, let's bring that around and we'll just tuck that up there. Just something quite simple, nothing crazy. Maybe we could have it a bit overgrown, kind of fit in with this sort of nice sort of woodland area. Maybe something like this. I'm not sure if it's a bit too cartoony, but we'll keep going with it and see where it goes. Hopefully it looks quite nice. And we'll just pop that there. And we'll get another one in here. And then we can copy this one over and try that there. Okay, let's get some toilet signs. Maybe a grey. Let's pop it down. And try... Let's try a bright yellow on black. I think that works better. And we can tuck that back here. Maybe have it up here. No, I think here would be good. And let's try one of these on the top here too. I'm not sure if this will work, but we'll shrink that down. Take it down to where it's needed. And just tuck it back to there. I think that looks quite good. Take another one just over here. And another one of these as well. And then for our roof, we could just do a flat roof or some kind of castle roof. Maybe we could use these pieces for kind of a battlement's castle roof. Let's see how that looks. Just twist that around a bit. And then we can just flip that up onto its side. And then around. And then I'll just fill in behind with some rocks. And we'll get a bit of greenery going on just along here. Some trees maybe. And just to hide this and kind of blend it in with the background a bit. Let's try these. Can maybe have some on the roof. Maybe a bit smaller than that. As if it's all coming down from here. Let's push that in a bit. And we'll do another one just there. We'll just add a little bit more foliage. With a couple of planters here as well. That could look quite nice. And what kind of trees should we pop in here? I think some nice pink trees. Let's go with the cherry blossoms. Just add something a little different. Or perhaps these maple trees. I think they're a bit too wide. Just a small cherry blossom here then. Then maybe just a few bits of ivy. Let's have some of that hanging down. And we'll just link that in with the rest here. To give it that kind of overgrown feel. So that is hopefully merging quite nicely between the two themes. We will just finish off this section here with some benches. Let's try maybe these ones from the fantasy pack. Let's get those into those blue and yellow colours. And we'll just do a few here. With maybe just some simple canopy perhaps, something like this. Maybe we'll take 3 of those. Let's angle snap that to 11.25 and just bring that round slightly. Might be a little bit too large for now, but we'll get these 3 lined up. And we'll go with that same blue and yellow theme here. And let's angle those down a bit. I think we'll have to do that individually, so we'll do 1, 2. Now let's just find something to link these onto. Perhaps this wooden pole here, if we have that come up to about here. And then let's have a look from our guest perspective at this area here. I think that's all looking quite nice. Maybe we'll bring these up a little bit so we can actually take in some of that view. Let's grab all of these and just take those right up to the top there. And I think this pole had a point on the other end, so let's spin that around as well. And bring that right up here. Let's quickly check from guest perspective again. And that's a lot better. We've got a nice view of the lumberdrake here. Maybe we'll adjust those trees as well so we can really see it. Let's do that quickly now before I forget. We'll just take all of those down to a smaller size. And that'll make the lumberdrake look like it's really far away as well, and it will look really big in comparison to the trees. And we'll bring... Oh, we've got some floating trees here. It's a good thing we came over. Let's get rid of those. And we'll make this one a lot smaller too. And maybe just bring that off to the side a little bit more. And now let's see how that looks. That looks pretty cool. And we'll mess around with this terrain here at some point. For now, let's see what colour should we go with. I think we'll just do something simple like that. We could do a mismatch like that, or I think this looks better this way. Let's reset that to default and we'll just do that. Then find some nice little hooks to go on here. I think we'll find some good bits in lighting. And then we can just tuck that in here. And just move that down slightly, and hopefully we should be able to rotate this round with a duplicate nice and easy. We'll just tuck that there and then give it a try. There we go. We can bring that round, but we might have to just move the canopy itself. Same for here. So let's bring that down. And then I actually think I'd prefer to use this pole instead of this. It's just got a nice bit of extra detail to it. And with that metal kind of rim around, we can link that into these quite nicely. Let's see how that's sitting. And then I think we'll just do a small fence around here and fence off our bridge. Maybe if we make something just quickly with this and maybe... I think the wooden one would be best. Let's use this one and maybe make that yellow. Or is that just the metal piece in the middle? Yeah, okay. Well, we'll leave that as yellow. And we'll bring that up a bit. And then we can just pop that all the way around. And then we can make a new scenery group and just get this going. Just around the edge of the path here. Maybe we'll remove the end piece here. Ooh. And then we can do that a bit more easily. And just get these a bit more rounded in their angles. And we'll just tuck these bits of greenery back slightly. And that bit there. Have a quick look from guest perspective. I think this is a cute little area. Got nice views all around. And then we'll just add a few more bins as well here. And a bit more lighting too. We could use the barrel bin for now, or maybe just this. I'll twist that around a bit. And we'll just check over here too. We'll definitely use a barrel bin here because it goes with the barrels that we've got there. And we'll just tuck one in here while we're adding bins. And just have a quick look at our lighting. See if there's anything we can just hang up on this pole here. We could stick to some fiery lights or some kind of dangly lamp here. I think actually we'll just use a couple of these on here and maybe some extra ones on these poles here. And maybe a little bit of extra lighting. We could just do a cheat light and pop them under the trees. Let's definitely change that colour to a warmer orange. Maybe we can tuck a nice hidden lamp in here and just spin that around slightly so that it's facing down onto the tables, giving a nicer kind of warmer feel. And then we can have this light showing slightly and maybe rotate that around a bit more. Really get that nice warm glow on the floor there. Let's just see how that looks from down here. Maybe we can... I think we can leave that. And then let's just make our bridge. I think we'll do a simple stone bridge for this one. Let's just grab our Viking stone wall and we'll flip that up. Let's get that up to 45 degrees. And then we can tuck that in here. Just try and get that lined up really nicely with this bridge, and we'll just duplicate that across. And then we can duplicate that up one, maybe shrink it slightly. I'll go up a little bit more and shrink it slightly again. And then we can just duplicate these down into the ground here and shrink those even more. And then we'll get all of this and flip it around. And then just to add a bit more texture on the inside as well, I think we should take this over again. And just slot that in there nicely. And we'll get one on this side as well. And we'll just add a couple of benches across the bridge as well. Maybe we could use this wooden fence here for the roof. Go for a bit more of a wooden roof vibe here. And we could start bringing in our blues as well. Maybe we'll keep it a little bit purple. And let's twist that up to here. And see how that looks from the other side as well. Yeah, that looks like it could work. And we'll do one more with a beam on top. And that should go over there nicely. We'll bring this beam up here. Let's bring that right over to the middle and up to the top here. And just get that round so it's more of a diamond. And then we can pop that in here. I think we'll move this bit down slightly. And then maybe this piece can come up. And just tuck onto the end there a bit better. And bring that over too. Or alternatively, let's bring these over this way. No, let's leave that as it is. And we'll pop that bit there. Make it slightly larger. And then we'll duplicate that round and then across. And if we link these two pieces together and fit them to the bridge, let's just bring that over slightly and enlarge again. Hopefully that can go on quite nicely. We'll give it a slight twist. Let's get rid of our angle snap and just bring that round, and let's try it out. And I think we'll do one more and twist that down. Let's go. Bring that over. And get that down. Just in line with the stone wall below it. Yeah, something like that. Perhaps I think we could probably do with some beams going up here just to look like it's a little bit more supported. Because right now I don't know if this would work in real life. It looks like it would probably fall down. We could maybe do some extra beams up here as well. Yeah, I think we'll leave it that way. And then we'll just do the other end and finish this up. And then I think we can add some extra beams here to support the bridge. Just do one on each side. So this is the bridge done. I think we're gonna maybe add some fairy lights at the top here. I think that could look quite cool. Or we could do just a hanging firelight here. Let's see how the fairy lights look. Should we go for these pirate lanterns? That could look quite nice. We could put those on the side here. Yeah, I think we'll go with that. I think that looks quite pretty. So we'll get a few of those. The only thing I'm not too sure about is the lower resolution from the previous game imports, but I think for such a, you know, it's just a bridge. I think it should be fine. Let's take that over and we'll have that one start to go down a little. Get rid of our angle snap. And just push that down here. And maybe we'll go for a smaller one here, just to link up this last piece. And just hope that nobody notices that it's tiny. Then we'll grab all of those and we will bring those to the other side. And maybe we'll just bring this out to cover up that bit there. Just slightly. There we go. Now let's see how that looks from guest perspective and maybe even in the nighttime. Oh, I think that looks quite nice. I'm quite happy with that. We'll do one more bridge to get over to our next section. And let's get the daylight back. And we'll have the bridge starting from here. Let's see what we can use for the bridge. I think for this section we'll go for a red path. And we'll just bring this over here. And we'll move that stone. And then we'll just pop a bit of path here, just to link this up easily. And we can grab that and connect that down there. Okay, we're now getting into the next section. We can use this Elven arch here. I think that could look quite nice. We'll have the lighting on this side. And we'll just figure out what to do with this bit here. Maybe we can move that over here. Or tuck it into the ground a bit. We'll remove this lady here. And then have a little peek from down below again. That's quite a glorious entrance. Maybe a tad tall. But I think that's quite nice. Could maybe move it down a little. And see how that looks. Yeah, I think that looks quite nice. Yeah, I think I prefer that lower. So let's go for this kind of colour for the bridge here. We'll look at the mythology pack, I think. That's what I mostly used for this section. Maybe... I think there is quite a simple, easy to use mythology bridge actually. Let's see if we can find that. I think this should do. We can duplicate this over. And then let's grab them both and just flip them around. Nice and easy. We'll probably do this again. Maybe just move these guys over. And tuck that back slightly. And then let's actually remove these pieces and get these. And we'll just bring that up a bit. Okay, I'll just finish the bridge off. I think we'll mute this red slightly here. Just to maybe gradually transition it over. See if we can get away with a very slow transition. Maybe something like that. And then we'll bring it into the stronger red here. I think we're using rosewood. I think that's looking quite cool. So this will be our Elven area. I was going with kind of the more classic elves originally, but I've ended up with kind of a Babylonian and astrological theme instead. So let's get rid of our angle snap. And maybe just start planning out the start of this area here. We won't do... Maybe we could do a big circle here. Yeah, let's try a really large circle. And maybe do some prettier paths here. Let's try some light blue. And we can maybe make some patterns here. Something like this could be nice. And then I guess we can get started on kind of building something up here. Maybe something quite simple to start with. Oh, I like how the lighting works here, reflecting the path in the marble there. That's really cool. Okay, let's just bring that back in slightly. And tuck that there. Maybe we'll get ourselves a little shop here. Kind of poking out on this corner. Maybe if we have it here actually. And then we'll have another one here. And then we can figure out how to link these pieces together. So the theme idea here, yeah, is basically Elven Babylonian astrology. I'm not sure if it's going to work. I think these points here maybe kind of clash with the architecture style of these, but we're going to try it anyway and see how it looks. I think maybe we'll keep using this piece here and maybe pop another one just here. It would be nice to get some kind of outcroppings actually. Maybe if we use this just here, and instead on here we get rid of these and change the color of this to something a bit more muted. We could go for complete black, or I think I quite like the sandy I think we've got similar over here. Let's go for the sandy. Then we can duplicate another one here. And just tuck that in there. And what we can do to just fit these pieces together is just add some extra pieces in here. And we'll just tuck that there like that. And then we'll get another one just over the other side. And maybe adjust these two just to fit here better. And then we can add some of this to the sides here. And then another one just here. See how that's looking. Let's change the time. We've got the shadow here. I do like that shadow on the ground of this big tower here. I think that looks quite cool. Yeah, this is a bit bolder. It's definitely more colourful than the kind of white and purple we've been used to. I think we might need to maybe mute the ground colours a little bit. Otherwise it might be a bit too much. I'm not sure. Let's have a look and see how it looks with just more of a sandy colour. Maybe a darker sandy colour. Something like that. This could work. And then we can use some of this red in various other places. Just a boring old asphalt ground. Maybe not for the bridge. Yeah, I think that's a bit easier on the eyes. And then we will bring in some more bits just to fill up these gaps. And we can also resize some of these as well. Let me just bring that out a little. And then we can have something kind of curving round here. Instead of going for a circle, just kind of a curved street. Let's just grab all of those. Put them here. And we'll do a few variations, I think, because this does risk looking quite samey. That's quite a cool view of Experiment 4. And this is quite a cool view of coming into a new zone. And we could probably have a coaster right here. Maybe we could use these pieces and just fill in this gap here. Because that could still look quite cool. Maybe delete some of this moss, or at least move it just so it doesn't look too similar to the previous one. I think we'll actually have maybe a thinner path here that curves around, and then we can have it open up into a really cool kind of plaza area here, so when guests come in, it's kind of more of a surprise, I suppose, rather than seeing everything as soon as you come through here. So let's go ahead and make this slightly thinner. Let's bring all of this over. We'll just remove the paths first. And there's also the fact that the sunlight doesn't really seem to hit this area very well. Yeah, so I think we could benefit from maybe not being the kind of main plaza area here. So let's just tuck that in there. Nice and snug. And then we'll bring this bit in as well. And I think we might build a different portal area here, because I don't think this really works with the rest of the theming. We could maybe use this in our next kingdom and probably change the colours a bit. But for now, I think we'll look at some other things to use. Ooh. Do you know, I've never actually used the heat maps. It's probably a good idea to check these from time to time. It's really good to see that a lot of people are in good moods, apart from these specific 5 people on Treetop. I wonder what's wrong with them. Okay, that was a little diversion. Let's get back to this area here and add this path back. We'll just bring that around. Maybe slightly thinner here. And then we won't add too much, too many stores here. Maybe just a few benches and vending machines. Just to keep the area nice and clear. Let's take that down to a 1 and just fill this area in. And then we'll just add a few benches down here. Let's have a look at which bench suits the area the most. We can change the colour of this one. Or maybe the red that we're using. Let's see, either this one or maybe this one with different colours. Let's try the blue. And maybe a more kind of neutral colour. Yeah, I think we'll use this one. Let's just pop a few of these around. I think it could be quite nice to have maybe a small fountain here. So I'm going to move these over to the side and see if we can find something to make a fountain with. Maybe the Medusa face. Can we change the colours for this? We can't. I think that might be maybe a bit too scary for this area. Well, not scary, just not really fitting with the theme. Do we have any fountain pieces specifically made for... We could try this. The witch from the first game. Maybe not fitting the theme, but we could make it fit the theme. Let's just tuck it right into the sun. And maybe throw in some lore that the sun god is maybe a bit of a trickster or something like that. And let's work on a fountain. Maybe use this Greek fountain here, because we can change the colours of this. And just shrink that down so it fits in there nicely. And let's see what other fountains we have, though. Could go for a square one. No, I think the circular one is quite nice, because quite a lot here is square. I think that could look better, but we don't have any ability to change the colour. Okay, let's just stick with this one, and let's go for the rosewood red for the color, maybe? Let's try a bit of the yellow. I think the yellow looks a bit nicer. And we'll get a small jet coming out. And we'll just tuck that in there. Maybe move that over slightly. There we go. Just something a little different for the area. And maybe we'll put some borders here. Let's have a look. We've got these, I think, from the fantasy pack. Let's see how they look. Let's just make that slightly bigger. And we'll get one of those just over here as well. I think it's slightly on an angle. So let's twist that a little. And then just tuck that in. There we go. We'll do the same with this one. And there we go. Oh, I'm not sure about the benches having those little love hearts there. I think we can maybe do a slightly custom bench here. Might be getting slightly carried away here, but I think we could use this as the back of the bench. It might look a little bit much, but let's just see. Just tuck that in and take that down a bit more. Maybe something like that. Let's make that into a scenery group. And push that over here. I'm not sure if it still functions as a bench. Potentially. I think that's quite nice actually when you look in guest view. We could maybe do a mixture of with and without the back. And then another version of the bench that's a bit more basic. Let's take that over there. And then we'll grab both of those pieces. And can we get them any smaller? No. That'll be fine. Let's just move that back a bit. And it needs a slight rotate. There we go. Let's see how the back looks. Yeah. So a slightly more basic version of the bench. And we'll just pop those there. And then let's just fill this ceiling in. And we'll just add some blue to the sides here as well. And take that down. Then duplicate that over. And then we can just cover up the back here. And we'll do the same for this side as well. Just fill this all in. I'm not sure if we'll have anything behind these areas, but if we do, it will likely be rides or staff rooms, so we can fill this in as needed when we get there. Let's just pop that one in. Okay, that's that little entrance bit done. Let's get our main plaza, and then let's get a roller coaster in here, I think. I do have a few coasters in my blueprints to use, but I'm thinking we'll probably build one today. And I also think we'll have our kind of portal entrance sign here rather than over here on the island, because it's a bit full over here, I think. I think here we will go for our more colourful floor. I'm thinking we can maybe have this as an outer and then maybe kind of a sun in the centre. Let's give that a try. Let's get that just here. And let's see how big the sun would be if we made it just 1%. Maybe a tad too bright. It kind of looks like a big target at the moment, but I'm sure we can make this look better. We'll just plop this down and lay it flat and try and get that as central as possible to this grid here. Maybe a little bit further this way. And then we can duplicate that out once and twice. Although this might not work, but we could at least get one ring, I think. Let's try. Yeah, this will be one ring only because these circles aren't quite right. And then just duplicate this around until we have a nice circle. There we go. And now we can get rid of all of these central pieces. And I think that looks quite nice. Yeah. Then we can just link this up here. And get that the right color as well. There we go. And then just for something a bit different, I think we'll combine these two. And then just get rid of all the extras. And just move the stars either side of the sun here. Let's get rid of that one, and we'll just duplicate this one over to keep the sizes the same. Then we have a slightly different piece there, which we can use here. And probably on the side next to it. Actually, let's tuck that in here. Actually, I think we'll keep this area fairly open. Let's get rid of these bits now. And then we can focus on maybe using some of these pieces. Let's see how that looks. Or have them up on the top. Actually, I think we will continue this around, but we will remove this piece and these bottom pieces here. And then we can see how that looks. And let's see if we can fit this last one in here. It's a little bit of a squeeze. Now let's check this from down here. Yeah, I think that looks actually really nice. It's still quite open, and we could either make them arches without a roof. Or we could go for a Babylonian hanging gardens kind of thing and do another tier up above and fill it all with greenery. I think we'll try this and see how that looks. Let's finish off the roof bit first and give it an outer circle as well. Try and keep this as circular as possible. I think it might be a little bit imperfect, but that will be fine. And then let's get this hooped version here. We'll take that and we'll start it here. And maybe shrink it slightly to get a bit of forced perspective. Maybe around there. Or perhaps, actually, let's try the one without the arch. I think it'd be nice to have a bit of square in all of this circular themed area. Oh, and then, yeah, if we just follow that around, that should look quite good. And then we can add a back section to this, although I might need to twist this pillar slightly just to align it better, because I didn't build this with the intention of doing any circular structures, so it might look a little bit strange, but I'm sure we can make it work. And then let's duplicate this and see if it works here. Hopefully it should. Or we can at least try and align them with the one in front. Okay, now we've got all of that done, let's just select it all. And we'll bring that all up. And then I think we'll make it a group. We'll just make it easier for moving it around. And we'll pop this back. Let's use that middle circle as a reference here. And then we can pull this down. I think it's looking quite nice. We might need to bring one more over to the edge there. Or a few more, and let's just connect those bits up properly. And then we can start adding some greenery and a lot of kind of hanging plants, I think. Maybe we might even use some of the grapes. Let's do the align to surface and see what looks best. Maybe wisteria? Maybe a bit of everything. Some grapevine along there, and we'll have some up here too. Put a lot of wisteria over this side, and then we got grapes over here, and we'll add some ivy as well, and maybe some other flower bushes up the top too. Let's see what ones might look nice. We could do something like this along the edge. Let's get some different colours up here as well. Maybe some more red over here. And some blue And then just some generic greenery. Let's tuck those down a bit. Well, I think we mostly want to focus on the hanging flowers, because we are definitely going for a hanging gardens kind of theme here. Let's get a bit more ivy too. Maybe slightly smaller than that. And have some growing up from the ground as well. Maybe a bit more. Especially in these corners over here. Something like that. We'll just fill in this last bit here, and then I think we will call this section done. Now, are they watered? Where is the soil? I don't know. But they just work. Maybe they're fake. We'll just leave it at that. Yeah, I think this is looking really, really nice. We'll make some things to cut off the end bits here. And just do a few tweaks. And then I think we'll pop a ride down just to get some guests over to this section. Now let's get a few shops in here. Let's see. Let's go for some food shops. Let's do a hot dog squad. We'll need to do some pathing in here. Or we could just use the full one. That should fit in here nicely. Let's pop that on top and... it does not. We'll use the counter, that's fine. Let's do this. And... just tuck that in here. And we'll move that all down slightly. And we'll pull this forward ever so slightly. Just enough to cover up that orange there. And then we can open this up once we've put down some electricity. And as it's a new zone, I think we'll do a new power generator. And we will... I think we'll pop it in here. And then we can have a staff queue just back here. Let's get our distributor. We'll put that right next to it. Then we can open this up. And then get something to show that this is a hot dog squad. I think this works quite nicely. It's like a
hot dog squad
counter arch to the arch there. And who's this little guy? You can just do a sign here as well.
Hot dog squad.
We will also just fill this room in down here. So let's just take one of these roof pieces and pop that down on the floor here. Just pull that back and down to there. And then we can grab two of these side pieces and just pop those in here as well. And then the back feels quite plain, so maybe we can make some quick makeshift menu board. I'm not sure how we would, but let's have a look. Maybe a few of these and then some squiggles. Let's just throw a hot dog either side. Just going with whatever here. Not too worried about this. Let's move those over slightly and get them a bit more central. Just pop that there. And let's see. You know what? I think I'm just going to leave this as a really silly thing and just have the menu be one giant hot dog. And maybe we'll tuck that to the side just a little bit. Ashamed of my terrible joke. We'll just pop it in here. And then pop that on there as well. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, and here we can have some sort of drink store. Let's go for some slushies. And I think what we can do is we can at least change the back colour so it's a little bit more different. And maybe even add in a door so that our staff have a way to leave. Let's try and find something appropriate. Or we could just pop it there against the blue. And we'll do the same over here. Let's do it this side. And we'll change these back pieces to our yellow. Okay, we've got 2 shops open here and still no guests coming this way. Hopefully putting a ride down should help. I wonder if we could fit a kiddie coaster in here. I think this might be a bit too small of a spot. Let's go to create custom and find our dragon kiddie coaster. Yeah, this will be very small. But we might be able to fit in a flat ride of some kind. What do we have? Yeah, this could work. Something small. I'm not even sure what this does. Let's have a look. Oh, very kid-friendly. We do have quite a few spinning rides though. Maybe let's see if there's any swinging rides we could use here. I think these might be a bit too big. Yeah. Always go for this. No, I think we'll leave this here. Yeah. I'm not sure how we can theme it, but we could definitely theme it some kind of way. And we'll have a simple exit and entrance here, going through these tunnels here. Let's get the paths linked up. We'll do a fairly long queue for this because flat rides seem to always have very, very long queues. Let's try and line that up nicely. I'm not sure why that does not want to link properly. Let's try and fix this. And then we can link the exit up there. And we should be able to open this. I think we can probably leave this bit as it is. Just move it back ever so slightly. And over there. And then I guess we can theme this. Let's at least change the colours. I think actually we'll leave it red. It kind of stands out against the blue and kind of matches in with the red here. I think that can work quite well. Though I am kind of wondering about... Oh, this is a very high bridge. I didn't realise. This is unfortunate reality for me in real life. Maybe we'll put some trees here to kind of block off the view, make it a bit more of a surprise. Let's use the tree brush here. Take the intensity and the size down a bit. And we've got our first guests coming over. I do worry about what impact that will have on the ride experience. I suppose it won't be too bad. If we move this down, then we can have a good view of the lumberdrake from this ride. And let's just stand that upright a little bit. Maybe put in a few autumnal trees as well here. Okay, so now this area is a bit more of a surprise. We'll go through as if we're experiencing it for the first time with these guests here. And then there it is. I think we'll call it the Sundial. Or just Sundial. And then we can give this the sun theme. And kind of maybe add some celestial bits to it. And what pieces could we use for the edge? I would have been lazy and used these, but they don't make a perfect circle, which is a shame. Maybe this one might. No. Okay, let's figure out something else we can use. Maybe just one of these. Yeah, let's try that. We'll change the color to match the rest of the theme. And then pop that where it needs to be. And we'll do a double up on this. Oh. Just grab that again, and we will give it a back side, and then just bring that all the way around. And sundials aren't perfectly round either, so we'll leave this bit, which actually is quite fitting because we've got the rocks here. So we'll just get that done, and maybe see about where the sun goes. Huh. Is it backwards? Because one should be here. Oh, what have I done wrong here? I think we do it the way it's going. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, etc. Let's add a quick sundial on top as well, so we know exactly where we're pointing. Let's go to our attach scenery or add objects and find our shapes. Where is the circle? There we go. Let's make that as large as we can. And I think we'll tuck that there, yeah. And we'll make that, yeah, kind of a dark bronzy brown. And then find something that resembles a sundial. You can try something like this. And let's just lift that up slightly. I'm not sure of the exact angle of a sundial, but we will make it work for us. Let's see. Somewhere around there should be good. So we'll take that back a bit. And then we will bring that out. And then get our nice little arch going here. Then we'll just take those down and get them as close to the ground as we can. It doesn't quite fit perfectly with the times of the day, but I feel like we can get away with that. As long as the 12, 1, and 11 kind of fit, it should work okay. Alright, we'll just finish up the sundial now. And if we take this circle from here, we could use that again, just to give it a little bit more detail to this section. And maybe even bring that up here. Let's bring that up a bit, and we'll pop that in just there. Let's add a slightly smaller one as well. And then we've got to think about how to decorate this section here. I think we could start with the patterns. Maybe change this to something... Maybe something like that could work. It sort of fits this square theme here. Yeah, I think we'll go for that one. And then for the frame area, let's see, maybe something like this. And then we could change this to a blue. Or perhaps a golder yellow. And we could do the same with this, maybe take that down a bit more to a sort of bronze. Then I think we could leave the rest as it is. Maybe... I think we'll leave these as they are for now and maybe come back another time to change those, because I'm not quite sure how to theme these yet. Let's just, while I'm looking at it, quickly fix that V. Okay, so for now let's cover up these little imperfections here. We're just using some basic greenery. And then we can hide this as well, maybe under just a bit more of this. I can just grab that and twist that around and bring that across there. And the same over this side. And then we'll get this roof piece. Maybe bring that down slightly. And then get 2 of those in there. Then we can just build a quick door. And we'll flip that round. And just take that up to the top here. Pop that in there, and then we'll just bring this over slightly. Hey! Just to line that up a bit better. There we go. Actually, I think we could put a maintenance door in here, rather than having it be all open. We'll just pop that there, and take that down. And then we'll put some more greenery around here, just to cover this up. Let's see. Just some basic shrubbery, I think. Nothing crazy. Don't really want people looking over here. Put a nice big tree in here as well. I'll just push that in slightly. And maybe another small tree here. And I think for the entrance and the exit we can just do some very basic archways, just to make them look a little bit more defined. We'll just flip that around 45 degrees. Oh. Let's change that to relative. There we go. And we'll just pop that above there. Give it a small little twist. And then find something to connect it down to the ground. Perhaps as we're going for this circular theme, we could actually make a circle here. And cover up these small sections here with something. Let's have a look. Just something simple, maybe to hold some lights on. I think we'll just do another one on the other side as well, just to bring it over the edge of this entrance here. And then we can pop the name up here. And I think we'll just have to change this to a blue or something darker so that our letters stand out. And I think if we use a V instead of a U to try and fit into the theme a little bit. And maybe double our I as well. And we could probably do a upside down V for an A. This might be a bit much, I don't know. Yeah, it's quite hard to read actually. I think we might get rid of the V. Let's keep that as a U. And maybe that will work better. Then I think we can use just this basic fence for the first part of the queue. And I think we'll bring this out here as well, just to make the queue entrance stand out. And maybe make that a bit larger. Let's push that up there and just pop that in there. I think that is tucked in nicely. I think it would be good to make the rest of the ground here the same colour as the path here. And then we can kind of just make it look like a wider path. I just think it'd be better to go through here and have this wider path. So let's take that down to the ground. And then we'll just copy this all the way through. Or we could just use one very large one here. And then we can cover up this section with a normal path when we build that out. So let's just do this all the way around. And then for this section out here, we could use this piece again. And just lead the path round. Just make that into a scenery group, and then hopefully we can maneuver that a bit easier. And then let's just put an exit in as well. And just tuck that down a bit. Rotate that, get it nice and aligned. And then take that down to about there. And we can just adjust this bit slightly to get that going into the exit a bit nicer. And we'll duplicate that over and just tuck that in. And I think we'll put exit here so that guests know where to leave. And we can do our double I again. We'll which will look really nice next to the X, I think. And finish it off with a T. There we go. And then let's build in the rest of our path. I imagine the path kind of being under this entire complex here. And then we can just cover up everything here with some nice foliage. Always an easy, quick fix. Although it does fit in with the theme here, because of the kind of garden theme. So we've got the queue done. Lots and lots of greenery around. Nice view as you come onto the ride. And there we go. Nice little exit. It just comes back down into here. And we will now just finish the path all the way around this this bit here, and then we will start building a coaster. So let's get started on that. And we've got quite a few guests coming out of here and needing the toilet, so I think we will make this here into a toilet quickly. Let's find our facilities. And we've got a nice little toilet here. And we can cover that up nicely with this same piece here. Quite a few guests are coming off of this ride as well with the need for the toilet. So I think if we make this section here into a guest toilet. Let's get our toilet facility. And we'll just put that there. Then we can get these pieces or similar pieces. Let's look in the Greek scenery actually. Mythology. And let's find something we can pop up the middle here. Could probably use this again. Okay. There we go. And perhaps we can bring this roof piece down and use that for the floor. Okay, now we've got the path, we've got this ride done. It's time for a coaster for this section. I think we'll start it just around here, around the back. And let's see what kind of coasters we can choose from. I think we'll go for the Premium Rides Launched LSM. Would be quite fun to do a launch coaster. And I think we can start it this way. Have the guests come out here, and then we've got a nice coaster here. Let's get rid of the angle snap. And I think we'll lift it a little bit as well, just to get a... Although it's a launch coaster, we probably don't need to lift it too much. And I'm going to go for a really big thrill ride here. Don't think we're going to start off with the launch. I think we'll do a pre-lift section. Maybe twirl them around to the side. Let's start with some angle snapping, and then we can smooth and adjust as we go. And we'll take that round to the side a little. Let's do a gentle curve round. So we will have to go down slightly. Let's pick up some speed. Start that right from the beginning. Bit more. and maybe come up into a very small bunny hop. And let's get this testing. I think this bunny hop is probably not going to be worth doing. It'd probably be best to bring them straight into the launch. Maybe have a period of it sort of slowing down. Which could actually be beneficial with a very small bunny hop. Let's bring this as short as we can. And then let's get our launch going in. Should we go for a flat launch or a banked launch? No, I think this first section here should be a bit shorter. So let's bring this around a bit more aggressively. Go for a very, very quick inversion. And then we can smooth this section. And let's stop the test for now. And I think we will do a couple of bunny hops. Maybe go for a launch similar to, I think it's an Intamin coaster in France, Terrace. Something like that. And then let's get the launch piece here. That does 2 bunny hops with 2 launches, I think. Although that is right after a big spike drop, which I'm not sure how to do in this game. Let's go for a bigger hop here. And then we'll bring that up and up. And let's select this area and change target speed. Let's get this going really, really fast and accelerating as quick as possible. And I think we'll go around with this. Almost like a top hat, but not quite. Let's see if it can make it up here. I'll start pulling it down now. And bring it this way. It'd be great to have it going through here. Let's see if it can make it. Oh yeah, it definitely can. We can make that go even higher. Let's get this really quite high. And then let's start our descent. Maybe we could leave it up here for a while to take in the view. A little bit longer than that. Something like that. And then we can slowly start coming up from this. To gain a bit of extra speed. Maybe we'll loop up through here. This is going to be going very fast. Let's get the start of an inversion going here. We'll bring it up. Maybe something like this, with a lot of smoothing. From down here that would look very, very cool. And maybe it would be nice to go down towards the lake for a small part of this ride. Let's bring it down there a little. And think about another element here. It's quite fast. Let's smooth this area out a bit. Then we'll go for an outer bank here. Pull it this way. And then another outer bank here. And this is when we can go maybe through here. And right over the Sundial queue. Maybe another upside down section. Actually, I think we'll bring it straight into here. I think the Sundial kind of works as a nice relaxing ride away from all of the real rides. So we'll let it have its own space here. And then start maybe weaving this in and out. Hopefully in a way that's not too aggressive. I'm not sure if this might be a bit too nauseous. Or maybe too high on G-force somewhere, I'm sure, but we'll try it and see how it goes. We'll do a bit of smoothing and then we'll do a test. Okay, let's see how this looks. Let's ride it actually. That might be a bit too... Yep. That's quite aggressive around this section here. I think we would have to slow down quite a bit. So let's have a think about that. Can raise this section up quite a lot. And this section here I think needs to be slightly bigger. And we could maybe have a break here. Yeah, that needs a break here. Some trim breaks in here. And then let's link that back up. That was a little bit too harsh. Let's take that deceleration rate down. And then smooth this section out. And we could maybe make this larger as well to slow it down. Something like that. And maybe we could... Let's delete from here and start that again. Another element here. Let's look at the remades. Let's not. I think we'll bring it down into airtime hill. Let's go up here. And then we'll whip it round for another weave through the, I guess, Colosseum type structure. And then we'll come out from here and go straight into a steep drop. Go into the ground a little. Maybe another airtime hill, or maybe we'll do a final inversion. Or a 0G roll. I've not done one of those before. I know they can be quite specific. Let's just try one. Then we'll just do one final banked turn before bringing it in for the break run. It's kind of funky looking from above, but let's ride it and see how it rates. Needs a bit of smoothing. I don't think it's going to rate very well. Let's have a look. Yeah, a bit too scary. Let's see where the fear is the highest. Go for the previous run. Quite a lot of fear over here. And a lot of fear here. Yeah, that sounds about right. I think we can make this a little less steeper as well. Let's bring that up slightly. Have a more smooth drop here. And maybe bring these sections out and up a little to slow it. And maybe have a bit longer of a kind of flattish track here to give some more adjustment time. Okay, I think it's all done. Let's give it a ride and hopefully we get greens across the board. Yay, we did it. There were a few bits there that I do think were still a little bit too fast for the elements. Especially this piece here. Maybe... I don't know, maybe have it come out even more? Or... I'm not too sure really. That makes the turn sharper though. Let's maybe bring it in a bit. And then we can smooth this section off a bit. Other than that, I'm quite happy with it. We'll definitely need some custom supports around here. I do think it looks quite cool from this area. We'll need some netting underneath as well. And we can name it... I'm not sure what we can name it, but I'm thinking this area, instead of being the kind of Elven themed area, I thought it could be the Dwarven themed area. And we could go for kind of two dwarf clans, the Sun Dwarves, and then maybe have a kind of mountainous area here and then go for those darker dwarves that I was planning for earlier. Like Sun and Moon Dwarves or Day and Night Dwarves, something like that. It could be quite fun. So maybe this is some sort of flying machine experiment. So we could call it Sky Chaser. And I think the colours actually work quite well for here, because we already have red and yellow as our kind of secondary colours. Yeah, I think we'll swap the station round. And we'll have the guests go over this section and maybe under this section. Let's get our exits and entrances in. And we just need some power here. So I think we'll do the similar thing to what we did over here and just... Actually, I think we'll just pop it underneath the ride itself. Let's find our distributor. And we'll just pop that in here. Because we don't need mechanics to come and see these. And then we can test that again because I made a few adjustments. And then we'll get it open. And it is open. Just looking a little bit bare, so probably people won't go for it just yet because it doesn't have much theming. We can, at the very least, change the colour of the car. And I think we'll keep the fire effect, actually. I don't think we'll cover that up. It kind of fits with the kind of Sun Dwarf theme. But maybe we could keep our blue. Maybe something like that instead, and then we'll do some bits on the front. Let's see what we can find. I'm kind of imagining almost a steampunk-esque kind of flying machine. Or, Leonardo da Vinci? I don't know if I'm remembering that right. I'm pretty sure it's Leonardo da Vinci who made a bunch of flying contractions. Let's actually see about some kind of parachute style wing. If we could make something like that, that would look quite cool. Oh, I think I'm actually thinking of the new Hiccup How to Train Your Dragon ride. Let me just check that for some inspiration. I couldn't find any way of making those kind of material wings. So I think we'll just have to try and make something that looks vaguely in the theme of the area and just see how it goes. I'll use the manta ray pieces for now. I think we'll have to reduce the size of these because I'm not sure if it will fit through the kind of gaps over here. Let's have a watch first and see if it does. This Minotaur could be cool. I'm just not sure about this ride, but maybe once we get to kind of the underground dwarves, we could do some sort of runaway mine train using the using that piece. And for now, I'm really not sure how to kind of theme this front section. Kind of want to keep it in line with everything else. And I was thinking of adding that sun piece, but I think that's been used quite a lot here. And while the roller coaster should look like it belongs in this section, I don't think it should look exactly the same. Let's just keep looking. Oh, maybe something like this piece could be quite cool on the front. Let's just bring that down so it's not quite on the lap bar there. Shrink it slightly and tuck it up here. Maybe rotate it until... There we go, we get something that looks a bit more attached. And then we could bring that back onto the other trains as well. Then maybe something to just cover up this piece here. Let's see what we can find. I think we will actually just get rid of that flame. It's definitely a little plainer now, but I think it looks a little bit better. And now we just need to decorate the station. Didn't intend to use this as a coaster station, but I think this actually works quite well. Maybe we could bring it up a bit. And then we could bring the ground up to meet it. We'll just bring the terrain up to meet the bottom of the structure here. Guests think that the ride is cheap, and that's just reminded me that it's probably best to go and have a look at our other rides and up the prices of them. $5 for Lumberdrake, and yet he hardly gets any people on. Well, actually, it's getting a bit busier. Oh, we have 800 guests on average. That's a lot more than when I last checked, so let's take that to $11.50. And a treetop, we can pop that up to $11.50 as well, or close to it. And let's look at... Oh, Shield Spin is getting not many guests anymore. Okay, we'll keep that down at 844. Experiment 4 is quite expensive, but it gets a lot of customers. Let's see how expensive we can make this. Oh, this is ridiculously priced. $30. Okay, well, we'll leave it at $30. If they're willing to pay it, then they will pay it. And let's see about Sundial. $4. Let's take that to 14. And our Sky Chaser. Let's keep that at 21. Okay, so we've got guests riding this, but I don't think we should ride it again until we have it very themed. And this bit sorted out here, so let's get to work on that. And we'll just use some of the same pieces that we've been using before, so let's get our blueprint back. And we'll use these yellow ones here. Just for some of this area. Or at least here above our exit path. Let's try that. So I've brought the exit down underneath instead, and I think we'll use these pieces to kind of decorate that under the ground. But we'll get rid of the little bits there, and then just build up a nice wall around this. Let's tuck that down, bring it across, and then we have a nice wall here. Then we can duplicate these and flip them round to the other side. And then we're just adding some ground to the rest of this. I think we actually need to pull this area here out a bit, and we can maybe add something here to keep it with the theming. Hopefully this will work. I'm not sure if we need any breaks here either. I think the end of the ride is a bit too slow, so we'll keep this bit as plain track. And then we can have this section maybe bank to the side a bit. And while we're making some edits, I also think the airtime hill here could be perhaps a bit bigger and maybe a bit further out. So I'm going to change this bit as well. So let's delete some of the track here. We'll delete it right back to here and try that again. And maybe lower this last section because that does get quite slow. So maybe it'll be nicer to have it closer to the ground here. And then we have enough track for another little hill here, I think. I think we might have to add a little extra boost, actually. The last bit is quite slow. We could always bring this in a bit, but I think it works quite well. So we'll try with one small boost here. Maybe let's add 2. And we'll just make a few edits around here as well. I've got the excitement score way up, and the fear score I think is similar to what it was before. So I think I'm finished with the coaster. I probably will end up editing a few bits, but I think I'm pretty happy with it. Let's finish off this section then for now, which is what I was doing before I got distracted. So we've got our exit here, and let's get the rest of this flooring everywhere. Just duplicate that out, and we'll just keep doing that. And let's just get a bit of a circular platform going on here. And then we can start adding some kind of base for the dome here. I think we could still use these pieces. I think they do make it look a lot better, but let's remove some of the unnecessary bits. So let's take away pretty much everything on the bottom here. And then we can use these. And then we can have this going around the entire circumference of the base of this. Let's see if we can fit it all in nicely. Maybe a bit too large? Let's see. We are getting some slight bits here, but we can cover those. That shouldn't be a problem. And then for this bit here, we can just bring in one of these pieces and remove the roof. Let's just plop that down and then adjust that manually. And let's just add some bits here as well, just to close off this path section. If we bring this over, and then we can get a duplicate of this. Bring that right to the edge there. And then we can duplicate this, turn it around once and twice, then tuck that back. We might need two of these. We'll bring that down and forward, and then we'll do another one just behind there. And then we can bring some of these pieces out as well and just give this little section a roof. Just bring that back a bit and up again. 1, 2, and 3, and we'll add some rocks and such around here. Okay, I think we do with rockery what we can for now. So let's go for our tiger rocks. And we'll definitely need a lot of these down here. And we'll get some plant life down here as well. Let's try some kind of vertical rock wall here. Something like this, just to keep it a bit more distinct than just a bunch of rocks. We can try, yeah, some bits like that. I think that could look quite good. Let's push that in there. And it will kind of give like a bit of a rougher edge to this section, whereas the rest of it is all very kind of neat and precise. I think let's go against the coaster. It kind of looks like it's sort of blasted through there. We'll take this away and then let's push some of this back a bit. Yeah, I think that could look quite cool. So we'll do that again on the other side. And then maybe flip them this way instead. Something like this. And then we can add our usual greenery around. Let's go for just a little bit of greenery here. I think the rocks have quite a nice effect on their own. Maybe we could add the rock texture. At least something like this. We'll get a few of those down. just to sort of distinguish it from the rest of the ground here. A few flowers, yeah. And some as we go down into this, perhaps. For now, let's work on this bridge here. Let's maybe use some of our pieces. So let's take this. And we could pop this underneath. And have a nice arch for the coaster to go underneath. Thing like that. And then we can just take this piece down. And duplicate this piece. And then we can grab all of this and just duplicate that over here. We may need to move this over slightly. We could do something like this. And then grab a double over here. And perhaps just adjust the queue to work with this. And let's edit that and get rid of these duplicates. And we can get another one of these just down here. Or let's just bring this down even further. So I do think we've got a double up here. We can take that all the way down. And then we'll duplicate these around. I think we'll actually change the texture of this path as well. Maybe to something like this. Just fit it in a little bit better with everything around it. And let's change the texture here too. I think something like that could look quite nice. Or let's see what other textures we could use. Maybe this one? Yeah, I think this one works better. Let's go for that. And let's do it for the exit as well. Let's just go down here. Oh. And we'll get some bins down here soon as well. Okay. Now let's just get some of these and duplicate them down. Let's go for a slight snapping here. And bring that out ever so slightly. Maybe something like this. And then we'll bring duplicates of that all the way down. We could also just do another layer of that just underneath. And then let's grab these bits and we'll duplicate them together. No, let's do them separately. And then we could perhaps change the color of this to our blue. Maybe? Let's see how that looks. I think that works quite nicely. It might be worth having some up here as well. Let's take that down and tuck that back. And we'll get our blue again. Just to cover up this bit of path at the bottom here. I think that looks quite nice. Let's actually make this section invisible. That looks quite a bit better. And then we just need some sort of barrier here. Actually, let's get that side covered as well. And just a little resize of these pieces here. Let's bring those down slightly, just so they don't poke out the edge there. And just bring them over, tuck them up a bit. And let's see how that's looking on the other side. Might need to go down slightly. And over ever so slightly. Hopefully that fits in nicely. Yeah. Let's have a little look in fences and see if we can find anything that would work here. We could reuse the fence we made earlier, but I think it might be best to make something from stone here. Let's just see. I'll bring that over. I think that could work actually. Yeah, let's bring that over and see how that looks as a whole. I think that could look quite nice. And then we could have maybe even more hanging plants here. And just tucking a few of these rocks away. Let's delete that piece. Alright, let's put this on both sides and then get that going down the slopes as well. And then let's put some hanging plants here. I think we'll go with the grapevine. And just keep in with that hanging gardens kind of theme that we've got going on. I think that looks quite nice. And over here, I think we'll go for maybe a tunnel as we did before. I think we'll just build something like this up and around the edges. And then I think perhaps maybe let's close this top off as well. I don't know if we'll need to do 2 of those. I think that looks not too great. Perhaps we don't need both sides actually. Let's move one of these out. Delete these and we'll move this up here. And we'll just delete this side here. And then the blue here could act as the start of a barrier. And then if we just pull the terrain down, maybe a slight bit higher. Let's go for flattening it just by the path there. We can maybe continue the fences along here. And we'll cover this little imperfection up with some greenery. Just do a few bits around here. We can maybe do this in a red. Let's see how it looks. I think that red could look quite nice. Let's try that. Let's have a look at this area from the guest perspective. I think we'll definitely put a net underneath this, because that might look a little scary. That's quite cool. We'll just bring some of this down, because that's clipping through the ride at the moment. Maybe make a wider exit here. So let's start on that, and we'll keep this where it is for now. We pull this around, and then tuck it up here. I do feel like it looks a little bit strange, but it's definitely the safer option. And now let's bring the rest of this down. And there we go, hopefully that works better. Let's finish off this section. Let's pull that up and change that to our red, I think. Just get something slightly different going on. And let's just grab a few more pieces here, and we'll pop these over the entrance. We'll get rid of angle snap, and we'll just pop that there, and we'll have the same on the other side. Just there. And let's get our fence over. Okay, now we've got that piece done. Let's work on a tunnel for our ride. I think we'll use the marble pieces again, but we'll go for a much darker blue. Something like this. And we can fill it with stars or small lights maybe. Let's have a look at our lighting and see if we can find anything that could work as a star. Something very, very small. Could use these. Just tuck those back into it. Let's see if there's anything else that we could use. Could always use this one. I think that might be best. Although we can't sink it in so that it's just the light showing. That's a shame. What about this flower piece? This could work for stars. Let's see how it looks at nighttime. Oh, that actually works really well. I think that'd be great. So let's get those going. And let's see if we can duplicate this one a bit easier. And hopefully keep them lined up nicely. I think that could work. Let's just make all of that one group. I'll duplicate that over. And we'll pop that down here. Let's try and line it up as best as we can with the launch here. And then we can just duplicate that along. And let's have a peek at how that looks in the night once we get just one more going. Just before the launch. And let's take that to 1 AM. That is a lot of stars. That might be a little bit much. think if we remove some, and then I think that looks quite nice. It won't be as spectacular in the day. Let's have a look. But it'll still be quite nice, hopefully. But let's start burying this section. Let's just bring this all the way up here. So this might work. Luckily this is a straight tunnel, so it won't be as complicated. And then when needed we can just do a small little pushback. And I think we're completely clear down here. Let's have a look at the top. That's fine, we can cover these bits with some rockery. Let's just shove some big old rocks on there. And then we can maybe bring some down on this side too. Let's actually just make a really large few rocks here. I'll just tuck that in. And maybe pull that over to the side a little. And we'll do a kind of natural sort of descent here. Something like that. And then let's get some greenery around here, especially on this area around the track. And just a bit amongst these bits to make them look a little bit more natural. And a bit down here. And then we can add some rocks here. Maybe we'll use these pieces again. Let's try around that way. And a few here. A few on this side as well. These ones will rotate back a bit. And then bring them out here as well. Okay, I think we'll leave this part free of greenery. And we'll just finish this section here. Maybe we will just continue this on. So let's take this section here and just duplicate that over. And hopefully we can get away with doing this. Let's try and tuck that up. And we'll just bring these pieces in. I'm not worrying too much about all of this on the top here because we're not going to see it from down below. There we go. That worked quite well. And then we can pop some grapevines over here too. And a little bit of greenery just underneath there. While we're here, I'd also like to move some of these to the side a bit. Just to give a bit more room for the coaster here. And then we'll make this plaza area a little nicer. And we'll add an edge to this piece. And just find something that we can slot on there nice and easy. Let's go with the red, I think. And then we'll just pop that round. Nothing too crazy. Do we think red or yellow? Let's go with the yellow then. And we'll just finish this off. I think for the daytime it actually does take away from the impact of the stars on the yellow. So let's try... we could do something like this. Let's add a few trees over here as well, just to kind of enclose this section a little bit. I'm not sure what sort of trees. Maybe something like these, a bit more Mediterranean. Let's get that one down here like that, and we'll get a few over here. Just to cover this back area mainly. And then maybe a small one here. And a few little bushes just to make them a bit less lonely. Or a few bits of lavender in here as well. Take some out by this tree. And then just a few bushes along the edge of the path here. And we don't have to worry too much about a fence. I may actually link the path here onto this. And then we can have the sign going along here instead. Yeah, let's do that. Let's take that away and then go for our queue and just link that up there. And then for this section down here, I think we'll just use this fence again. I think I actually prefer this path as well, so I might change all of this section underneath to match. At least everything that's underneath the kind of circular plaza here. And then we just need some decent overhead net for these areas of path that have the ride going above them. Let's have a look. Let's just type in nets and see what comes up. If we just tuck that up slightly, we could do a nice little roof here. Maybe we could just do something like this. Bring that down. And then do the same on the other side. Just angle snap that. And hopefully that lines up nicely. We'll need a slight rotate here. Let's take it to about there. And then we can bring this pole down to run along these sides here. We probably want a lot more netting over here, but for now we'll just leave that piece. And I think we will just finish off the title of the ride for today. And then in the next episode we will add some custom supports, because we have this miraculously suspended piece here. So some custom supports and the rest of the netting. I may even do that off screen, because that's going to be quite a tedious thing. We definitely won't do custom supports everywhere, because I am sane, and I think that doing custom supports for this whole ride would make me not sane. So let's do our ride entrance here. We'll also have a sign here to hint at it, and I'll probably just add a few more bins, some benches, and we'll call that the end of the episode. So let's get a Sky Chaser sign. You maybe use these clouds for the starts of the sign here, and then we can get some kind of background, maybe something like this that kind of has a bit of flow to it. That could work if we take that down and pop that in the corner here. And the same for this one, we'll pop that up into the top there. And then let's get our letters. And as we went for thin letters on the sundial, let's go for the thick ones here. I think we should find maybe a different background for this. Let's have a look at our signs and see if we can find anything that will work for us here. We could go for something like this. Could try something like that with the cloud behind it. And the sky on the sky, on the cloud. We take that up a bit. And then we can pop that above the entrance here. Let's rotate that 45 degrees up. And pop that up to about here. And then we'll also put it out here, just to help our customers know where they're going. Might have to get rid of a bit of this greenery here. Or at least make it a little smaller. Let's go for something like that. And then make sure that this is aligning properly. And then let's just get a couple of poles here. Could maybe use these pieces again with our red. Let's spin that around and shrink that right down. And then if we pull that back to about there. And then we'll get another one over here. And then let's have a little look from down here. Yeah, I quite like that. I do feel like the sun here is a bit of a motif for this ride, but we do have the sundial just next door, so I think we'll keep it as it is, for now at least. I would like to rotate this slightly. I think it'd be better if it is facing our entrance here. And then we can have a look from down here. Yeah, I think that looks a lot better. And you can really get excited for the ride here. You can see all of the tracks. Just as you're going on for a queue. Okay, what we'll do then is we'll add a few more bins down here. So let's make a bin that fits the area quickly. Let's just go with this plain bin for now. And then we'll find something that we can pop around that. Let's look at our mythology theme. And we could go for pots actually. Let's make them maybe red pots. Let's go with red pots. And we could change the color of the bin just to get the rim to be slightly different. So let's go for the blue and yellow. And then we'll just try and align that a little bit better. And we'll save that as a scenery group. Okay, now we can pop some bins around. Because we do have quite a lot of rubbish around here. I've had to hire quite a few janitors. We'll pop one more over here. And a few under here. Definitely some under here as well. I've seen a lot of litter down here. Just tuck that in there. And maybe we can put a bench down there as well. So let's grab this bench. And pop one of these in here too, as people like to go on benches after rides. Let's just finish off with some lighting, because I don't think we've got any here in this entire section. So nighttime is a bit grim. Let's make a nice lamp for the place. We could use the statue hands to be kind of holding lights. It could be a little bit creepy, but I kind of like the idea. I'm not sure actually. Maybe we could use actually some of the Viking pieces, because this is in theory a dwarf area. So maybe we can use those Viking statues and then change the colors of these to match the theming here. We can go with golden and either red or the same blue. And then we can find that sun. Let's get two of these. Or we can just steal the sun from over here. And add that onto their hands here. And then we can find a nice little lamp to have them hold. Let's just tuck that onto their hands. And we'll just have these guys dotted around. Let's have 2 of them here for sure. To kind of really cement the idea of this being some kind of sun religion. And then we can pop a few of these guys around, but I don't think we'll use them as our main lampposts. Maybe at the entrance here. Let's get 1 and 2. And then let's do a more basic light lamp, or we could perhaps just use this. And change this color to the red. And we can just pop this around where needed. Okay, let's start some artificial lighting and go to nighttime and just grab our nice big light here. Let's kind of go for a nice orange golden. Let's maybe pop some up here. And we could also pop some down here, but I think that's a little harsh. It's making it quite green. Let's try a different color. Blues? Maybe some blues over here could be nice. Or red. I think red works quite nicely. Let's go for something like that. We can actually play around with the colour here. We can have some red over here and some blue over here just to keep some nice contrast. And then beneath, I think a blue would be good. Beneath here. I think it might be worth actually putting some lights either side of this sign here. And the same for Sundial. With Sundial, let's try... yeah, let's really illuminate that. In a way that really highlights the name more than anything. Yeah, let's go for that. Okay, I think we'll leave the episode here. And let's have a look at everything that we've built in today's episode. It's a little bit smaller in terms of land size used up, but I do think we've got a lot more detail going on this time. At the very least, building a coaster from scratch during the episode. So we've got our nice manor here, leading into experiment 4. I would like to maybe have a mage tower behind this that's sort of covered in these vines to sort of lean into the theme a bit more. We then have our Viva la Vegan just behind, and our nice little bridge, which unfortunately I didn't realize until much later completely hides our waterfall that we built. We've got this nice little seating area here that has an outlook on both the Lumberdrake and Sky Chaser. Be a pretty cool place to just relax and eat. I would like to update this bridge. It feels a bit lackluster at the moment. But for now, this whole area here, I think looks really great. I'm quite pleased with it. It wasn't what I was expecting to build when I started the park, but I kind of got a bit taken with inspiration. This area here, I think is my favorite for sure. I think it looks really awesome, especially with the coaster going around. We'll definitely add some custom supports. Maybe off episode. I think custom supports is probably quite boring to watch. But let's check out Sundial. Our little kiddie ride that we got done today. And then we'll go and ride the Sky Chaser for the end of the episode. And we'll have a look at this area in both night and day. And I think we'll ride the Sky Chaser in both night and day as well. So let's just go along the queue here. And wait very patiently for the ride to come in. Alright, I'm really pleased with how that's looking. I do want to very quickly remove a stone that may cause a lawsuit. Let's bring those back a bit. And then we'll have a look at the park at night. All the lovely comments on the previous video really helped me to stay inspired to create this video, and I appreciate every single one of them, so thank you so much if you took the time to comment. And thank you to everybody that subscribed to me as well. The previous video got a lot more attention than I was expecting, and a lot of really positive feedback. So I really hope you guys like this one. And we'll leave the episode here. If you did enjoy, please consider giving a comment, a like, and subscribing. Thank you for watching it all the way through if you've made it this far, and hopefully see you in the next video.